Hello, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Chasity Saunders, and I am your host today here at Cutlivating, and we'd like to welcome you guys back. We're so excited about today. We have a fabulous discussion coming up for you all, and we're going to be talking about from burnout to breakthrough. And I'm so excited about the two panelists that we have joining us today. You guys are in for a treat, so please grab your tea, grab your water, grab a notebook, and get ready to learn a lot about how we're going to continue to navigate in this space. If you guys are just joining us here today for the very first time, I want to tell you a little bit about Chastity's programming for this series. This is a virtual conversation series where industry leaders dive into adapting and evolving and thriving in the face of change in our entertainment industry, discovering how creatives are redefining their paths and transforming challenges into game-changing opportunities. Okay, so let's reshape the future of entertainment together. You guys ready? I hope so. So I want to go ahead and introduce you to our first guest who is here with us today. This is a good friend of mine. She is the ultimate champion when it comes to wellness. Beauchamp is an award-winning TV host, producer, visionary wellness and lifestyle expert, and a multifaceted entrepreneur. In 2020, Ty created her now widely popular series, Mindset with Ty, an Instagram live show that quickly grew into a global community where women foster authentic connections, share their stories, and support each other on their individual and collective wellness journeys. Guests of Morning Mindset with Ty have ranged from Essence Magazine editor-at-large, Mickey Taylor, to top entertainers like Taraji P. Henson, Melanie Fiona, Kimberly Williams, Paisley, and Gen Z influencers like Marley Diaz. In 2021, Ty extended the Morning Mindset with Ty platform, launching Morning Mindset with Ty, the Hike Plus Experience, a monthly in-person LA-based wellness event that draws hundreds, I would say thousands, of women and men from across the United States for a transformative wellness experience centered around mindfulness, fitness, and community. And if you've ever been to one of these, I've been to many. It is life-changing. Please welcome our first guest, Ms. Ty Beauchamp.
Hi, Chaz. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you doing? It's so lovely to see you.
It's always a true blessing to see you and to be in your presence. I'm really excited for this conversation and to share and also to hear and illuminate together. As you said, as we evolve and, see where the entertainment industry and space and how we need to operate as creatives, quite frankly.
Yes. I'm so excited. Welcome to Creativity.
Thank you.
Excited to have you here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next guest. This is B. Arthur, LMHC. She is a Columbia University trained psychotherapist, award-winning entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, and pioneer in the e-therapy space. As the first African-American female founder accepted by Y Combinator, B was named an entrepreneur to bet on by Newsweek, as well as one of the 100 most inspirational New Yorkers by Bumble. She is the co-founder and chief therapy officer of Together, an AI coach that facilitates couples therapy sessions and teaches EQ communication and conflict resolution courses. Please, Creativity family, help me welcome Miss B. Arthur.
Hi, B.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are y'all? Thank you so much for having me.
Doing well. So are you joining us from New York today?
Yes, ma'am. I am uptown in Harlem, New York, representing Harlem World. And it is so great to meet you ladies. Really great to hold space with y'all. Big, longtime fan and friend of Creativity. And yeah, just Black love, wellness, and wholeness. So really happy to be here today.
I love it. Well, I'm so excited that you ladies took time out of your busy schedules. Today, we're talking about from burnout to breakthrough. And that's something that is absolutely so real and so true. So I always say that time is a non-renewable resource. It's something that we will never get back. So I just want to first start by saying, ladies, thank you so much, because I know your time is very valuable and we truly appreciate you being here with us today to share.
Aww.
Thank you.
So,
My honor.
Of course. I want to start by just jumping right in there, because I know a lot of creatives struggle with balancing. And we have, gone through this pandemic. We've gone through a strike. There's been so many things happening in our industry. And statistics say that more people now than ever are burnt out. So first, I just want to say, what do you define as burnout? And what do you think some of those key symptoms are for some people that are joining us today that think that they may be experiencing burnout?
Be as a mental health expert with certifiable degrees, I'll let you start and then I'll chime in.
Sure. So we're talking about mental health, but I like to think of it as mental wealth, right? And that is abundance, that is bandwidth, that is capacity. And so burnout really means the opposite of mental wealth, which is broke as a joke. You ain't got it, right? Your tank is on E. We do have, just like you said, that time is a non-renewable resource. The same thing is for our energy stores, right? It is a finite resource. And a lot of it happens when burnout is you have things that are draining your energy, right? That means any one-way relationships, toxic relationships, gaslighting relationships, that's to our work, our partners, our families. And then you don't have enough energy to do the things to feel and function the way you would like to, right? And the best way to combat that is with renewable resources or regenerative energy sources. So you always have to make sure you're overdosing on joy and doing the things that give energy back to you. Because after a while, like if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, right? So you will not be able to give to the things in your life if you don't have any energy left for yourself at the end of the day. And that's what burnout is.
Absolutely. I love that answer. Yeah.
I was going to agree. I mean, I love the idea of the reality being that we are expending a lot of energy. I approach burnout, and I've thought about burnout because I've had it in multiple phases of my life as I've made many transitions and pivots. And the way that I like to describe it is just thinking about not only the expendable energy that we put into anything, but also the pace and the idea of not pacing ourselves all the time. And I think this is very common specifically for Black women who have been taught, at least in my case, that I had to accelerate and excel at a very specific pace or rate or position or time. And, I've done that over the course of my 26 plus years of working in the media and entertainment spaces to the highest level. And so when I think about, balancing or counterbalancing the reality that we are highly motivated, highly driven people, oftentimes with a great deal of pressure and or expectation put on us that we respond to. It is a lot of psychology behind this, and a lot of history and historical trauma and historical lessons and teachings and behaviors that we've adapted to, that now I think we're in a critical time where we have to reset. Because we have been so driven over the course of so many years, we have done the most, and we hear people say that all the time, you're doing the most, and we've celebrated doing the most. What about if we get to the point of being like, I'm gonna celebrate doing the least? Right. And really kind of get to this place of recognizing that we deserve harmony in that. And so for me, burnout has come at the cost of being highly driven, highly motivated, highly ambitious, and highly pressured in doing so much in such a short period of time and expending the energy, not even just the energy, but the mental capacity, sometimes the physical capacity, other times the financial capacity that I don't have. And so I challenge us to think about like what is necessary, and also to combat, as much as we're doing the most over here on this side, to come back to ourselves and say, sometimes it's okay to do the least.
Yeah. I love that so much. Yes, snaps all around. That's so
do
good.
The least. Do the least.
Yes. Least. I love that so much. I think a lot of folks out there don't know that they're actually dealing with burnout versus stress. So I wanted to ask you ladies, how do you think someone can differentiate stress from burnout?
I like that question because stress, I hate to say it, but stress is necessary, right? Because like as we grow up and as we go through different challenges, we need to make sure we have the resilience muscle developed, right? And if
Yeah.
you don't grow through things, you can't grow through things. All these challenges change us. However, like you said, Ty, when you're doing a lot of things physically, professionally, even romantically or whatever, you will get to a place where you can't push through, right? And also the worst part about it, Black women especially have come to kind of mutate into having a very high stress tolerance, a very high pain tolerance. My mom is going through it right now. She finally had her knee surgery and her doctor was like, oh my God, like you have been in pain for a long time. Like you really should have done this sooner. And there's this idea, well, I just have to power through. Nobody else is going to do it. And that's just not physical symptoms. So stress is the cumulative effect, or burnout is the cumulative, collective, chronic, and consistent effect of too much stress for way too long. You're supposed to get a break after you climb the mountain, right? You're not supposed to keep limping up that mountain. So make sure you pause. And Ty, you said it earlier perfectly. Manage your pace and run your own race.
I love that.
I love what you said about just understanding that some stress is natural and some stress is healthy, actually. I think burnout comes in the time when there's too much stress that you can't do anymore. And unfortunately, to B's point, oftentimes with us, we allow that time to come and then we continue to press forward. And so then it becomes extreme burnout that often leads to depression, that often leads to, literally being in a space where you can't do anything. And then the recovery takes that much longer. So I like to say that stress is a healthy motivator at times. I love what B said about it being a manager or an indicator of resilience, which we need some of, but you also have to regulate stress, right? And so I think we talked about this idea of creating harmony or some semblance of balance and harmony. Like if you are having high stress days and high stress moments, you need to combat that and to regulate that by having times that you do absolutely nothing. And I actually really do believe, as a Black woman who has experienced, like I said, I've been through burnout. I probably experienced burnout 3 times. And I'm willing to say that. I think the burnouts have come at a cost to sometimes my ability to recover as quickly. It has come at a cost of me perhaps feeling not as in control and empowered and inspired at times, right? And so when you get to the burnout point, that's when you're not able to think. You're not able to crystallize or even restructure or reframe, right? Because burnout ultimately sits you on your ass, is what I like to say. And I've had those moments. And I also have said very plainly, as someone that has been super high achieving for a long time, if you're blazing trails, which we celebrate as Black women, right? We say you're a trailblazer. There's going to be some heat. There's going to be some heat. There's going to be a tailwind.
Yeah.
Right? So as we're blazing these trails, we have to be mindful, like, how do we stop and pump the brakes a little bit so that take our foot off the gas? Not that we won't move, not that we're not going to progress, not that we're not going to go forward, but just to monitor and recognize that blazing trails will come at a cost of sitting you down.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that so much. I hope that you guys are getting all of these precious gems from our incredible panelists today. Again, if you guys are just joining us, my name is Chasity Saunders, and I'm the host of Creatricity's panel series, where we are bringing these ladies out tonight so that we can talk about from burnout to breakthrough. I want to talk a little bit about daily habits. I have something that I like to call the power hours. My first hour of the day, where I start my day before I pick up my phone, where I, pray and manifest and speak life over myself. What do you think are some of the best daily habits or routines to prevent burnout?
Well, that is why I started Morning Mindset with Ty. And I mean, literally Morning Mindset with Ty was birthed out of a season of burnout. And again, the other thing I want to say about burnout, oftentimes we don't recognize we're there until it's almost too late. It's when you become critically handicapped and unable to move in some area of your life. It may manifest physically, it may manifest emotionally, it may manifest spiritually, it may manifest in your relationships, but it manifests usually when you find that you can't move in some way. And that happened for me And like I said multiple times, but Morning Mindset with Ty was birthed out of that. I had moved here to LA. I definitely wasn't in my top physical space. I definitely wasn't in my top spiritual and mental space. And I decided that I was going to get up and go outside first thing in the morning after my prayer, after doing my devotionals, and start hiking. And I created that pattern. I even find right now that I'm in perimenopause, I can't necessarily get up as early as I used to because, child, I love sleeping. That's a whole different conversation.
I too love my sleep.
I love my sleep. But I think the routine of starting in the morning, and I mean, there are scientific studies that have shown and proven that the most successful people actually do have a very specific morning routine. Now, you don't necessarily have to be routine about everything, because then that could be counterproductive to creativity, counterproductive to opening up space for you to learn, to grow, and be curious. But having a morning routine, I think, is the key. And then I think the other piece is having tribe. So with Morning Mindset with Ty, we have 4 key pillars. We affirm ourselves, we affirm other people, we connect with ourselves, we connect with God, we connect with other people, we connect with nature, we move our bodies, we move and shift energy, and then we reset. And that's when we come down now to a space of recalibration, so that way we can go about our day with fortitude and enthusiasm.
I love it.
Okay.
I was already living here in Los Angeles, and Ty and I met years ago in New York. And I remember when you first got here and you would invite me to come and do hiking with you. And this is before you started Morning Mindsets with Ty. So this was already a part of your routine. And I love that you're now sharing it with the world. I'm so proud of everything that you're doing.
Chaz, I remember our first hike. I totally remember it, but I think the movement piece is really important, especially for us as Black and brown people, like recognizing that nature is us. That is us. That's where we're meant to connect. That's where we ground, literally. And so I remember that hike. We had a good time, girl. I still got pictures of that. I remember the hat you had with the pom-pom on your head. Like, you remember that?
Yes. Oh, I missed that hat. Biet, would you like to kind of chime in with us on daily habits that you think that, our listeners could, use to prevent burnout?
Well, first of all, I have to say, like, shout out to y'all, because I do not like hiking. Like, whenever I'm in LA, and I love LA, they always be trying to invite me to hike. And I'm like, why would I do that? Like, I get my steps in New York. So I'm not big on hiking, but I do agree that music is medicine. Like, I really, music and movement are medicine, right? So they've even done studies on this. Like, I'm not a singer, y'all are more talented, but you do have to connect with your voice, right? And it's important not just to connect with your voice, but connect with your higher power. So the number one thing you can do to prevent and recover from burnout is keep your phone plugged in on the opposite side of the room, right? It is getting energy from the wall, from the light socket. You need to get energy from your source. So the worst thing that we see, and everybody's guilty of this, is waking up and immediately getting on your phone and plugging in and plugging into other people's thoughts. We weren't even, so I mean, you said it earlier that we are nature. We are meant to be connected to that. 90% of New Yorkers, our feet never touch the ground, right? That's where our ancestors live. That's where natural intelligence lives. Like, that's where the sun and the air and the wind, all these things have information for us that we are cutting ourselves off from. So right now it's winter, but if you can't get outside, if you can't touch grass, literally do your best to not just give in to other people's thoughts, because when you give over your attention, you give away your power, you give away your agency. And so that's the number one thing. Do not get on that phone first thing in the morning. So I like to practice the artist's way. Sometimes I get too distracted to write it out, but I do make sure that I let myself kind of live like a baby and just like think and let my thoughts settle and stuff. And then also, like I said, y'all are a lot more mentally healthy than me, but I like to, I'm really big on pleasure. I think that pleasure is part of the recipe. So, I love that. Y'all, I don't like hiking, but I do like that Cali weed. So that helps me.
Wait, we're not mad at that either, darling.
No,
oh yeah, no, it's from the earth. I can't go outside, but I can go inside. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really big on pleasure as part of my power practice.
I'm sorry, I want to chime in, and sorry, Chaz, because and I know this is meant to be a conversation. I just want to echo what he said. I think the slow waking up, and I love your language around sway, like a baby. Like, I think that is something that I think anyone can do without having a very specific routine. Wake up slowly. Like take your time and understand. Well, and I actually, for me, it's spiritual, right? Because then you start to realize like this idea of waking up and being called into something. Here in LA, I'm able to wake up to these beautiful sunrises outside my window. And it like really, really moves me. Like be slow in your wake up. And this idea of pleasure too. And I just want to stay there for a minute, B, and just celebrate you for that. Not simply for, the THC and cannabis experience of it, but pleasure just in general, whatever that looks like and feels like for you, whether or not it's hugging your pillow, whether or not it is masturbating, whatever it is for you, right?
Big
to enjoy
on
that, because
heavy on it.
Listen, I'm sure you listen. I'm already into everything you're saying, B. I'm here for it, but
Yes.
I guess the thing that's so interesting, and the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because I feel like we're very much, as Black women and as Black creatives, and as a world really as a whole, but it's necessary for us to start to remove some of the stigma of the social stigma that has been attached to our identity, because in that we've received a lot of the stress that takes us out. That's not actually really even meant for us. So how do we counter that? We're going to have to retrain the others around us to understand and respect what are healthy and loving parameters about what it is we need. And I think that, being curious like a child, being like a baby, affording yourself pleasure, all of the things, and so many things that inherently, from a historical standpoint, we were denied.
Right.
And so I really do think that a part of, getting to this space of not experiencing burnout is to stop denying ourselves. Grant ourselves access, grant ourselves privilege, grant ourselves love, grant ourselves pleasure of all of the things that we were probably and have been denied. And I think that that's a part of fueling us. That's a part of fueling us. That's a part of the joy that you talked about, B.
Absolutely. Nobody is going to do it for you, right? Nobody is going to give you anything except more stuff to do. That's that workhorse mentality. That's that grind set mentality or whatever. But that's also that slave mentality, right? We have power now. We have options now as women. Absolutely. So it is really important to make sure, and this is what burnout is. It feels like a runaway train, like you can't stop. But of course you can, right? People feel like you can't stop. But in any chance, you have to remind yourself that you are in control of your life and you have a choice at every moment to go whatever direction you say. So a lot of that pressure is external. Don't make it self-imposed as well.
Yeah, I love that so much. And, I'm learning a lot, sitting here with you ladies as well, because I would always say things like, I have one gear and it's go, we used to have that, can't stop, won't stop mentality and all those kind of things. But it's like, we have to evolve as people, right? We have to evolve as creatives. And we have to set those boundaries, because a lot of those rules and mantras were put into place before we actually really knew who we were or how we needed to show up in the world, right? So it kind of brings me to my next point that I wanted to discuss with you ladies, and that's about setting boundaries. I'm sure a lot of other folks out there want to know, like, what are some ways we can set boundaries to kind of avoid overcommitment? Because I feel like I'm one of those people that I overcommit all the time, but it's like that go, go, go mentality. So what are some ways that we can set some boundaries to avoid that overcommitment?
I mean, I really like that you said evolve, because you're absolutely right. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was like this Black excellence 90s, Hillman mentality that really made us want to have it all, but there's a cost, there's a cost to be the boss. And so on the other side of that, when you don't conflate your identity with your accomplishments, can you still be happy with yourself? Can you still be at peace with yourself and your creator and the things in your art as well? So I really believe I'm big on boundaries. Boundaries are a beautiful thing. And what I can't remember, I think this is in Shonda Rhimes' book. She had this book called The Year of Yes. Yes, The Year of Yes.
I love that book. If you haven't read Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes, you guys, please pick that up and read it. It's such a great read.
I mean, talk about a woman, truly having it all. And, she said that everything changed when she adopted her children, and that she was used to saying yes all the time. But then here's this other, like, actual being, not a deadline, not a show, not some money that needs her attention, right? Things that need her to survive. And so she changed it. Instead of saying yes, which was her default, she started saying yes, if, right? Yes, if we can make this time work. Yes, if it can be at my house. Yes, if I don't have to go to New York, right? Because then it's an equal. We both equals in things. You don't just get to get something from me. It's not transactional, right? Then it feels
Right.
good for me, right? And if I can't, then I can't do it, but I tried. And that's okay. That's where it stops. No is a complete sentence, but yes, if makes it a really comprehensive contextual commitment.
I love
I
that, Ty.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think the other thing that has been really important for me is to choose and really have a sense of where I add value, where I want to add value, and where, if I'm not there, will the value be missed? And
I
I ask that of, whether or not it's an event, whether or not it is, work. All of those things have come into play for me, and I definitely recognize. I'm surprised to say, but grateful to say, I will be 47 in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
So I think, oh, I love your face, B. Do it again. Do it again.
Wow.
exactly.
I will be
You look
47 in a
amazing.
couple of weeks. And so I think with that, my priorities have shifted. And
Right.
one of the things that I think is very important for creatives and anybody, quite frankly, and especially for us as Black and Brown people, everything does not get equal weight prioritization.
Mhm.
Everything is not the same level of a priority at the same time. And what I've had to do is really kind of drill back for myself and say, what are my top 3 priorities? And are these
Yeah.
priorities not only fueling me, are they supporting me? Or is there reciprocation in these priorities? And what does it
Yes.
mean for me to deposit here into these priorities? And so I will say that, quite frankly, as a person who's been in the beauty industry, I founded a business, and I think I'm saying it publicly here, perhaps for the first time. I stepped away from Brown Girl Jane in May to focus fully on Morning Mindset with Ty. I realized I could not do all the things, and the priority around return and where it was going to be value add and where and what it could lead to or not. I had to process those things for myself. And so, again, going back to this earlier idea of doing too much, at what cost? And I think it's really, really important to think along those lines. And then I'll just add one quick thing. I also think it's really important. I don't like to use the term boundaries. I like to use the term parameters. And the reason why I like to say parameters is because boundaries sound so fixed. And I often think that as we evolve and as situations evolve, we don't want a boundary to become something that becomes a barrier, right? And so if you have
Yes.
parameters, it still allows and affords some of the curiosity that I said and some of the flexibility if something comes and illuminates in a new way in order for you to create a new priority. But I also think in that, the key is always communicate, communicate, communicate. I'll give you a case in point. I had to say to my mom and my parents, when I go home to New York now, I'm staying at my boyfriend's house. I am not staying at their house. And they're like, well, when are you coming home? I'm like, y'all are booed up already.
Yeah.
I'm not. I got to
Mhm.
prioritize this. And this is the relationship that I'm prioritizing over other relationships. And so I think the boundaries become barriers and guardrails for everyone that are healthy. And I think it's just really important to communicate around those.
I love that. I love that you spoke about relationships and how you have to kind of create that within, intimate relationships, family relationships. Most recently, I went to Ghana to
That's
promote
wonderful.
my international film, and I
Oh,
was very excited about
congratulations.
it. But I had a 7 a.m. flight the day before to go home to see my family for Thanksgiving. And the premiere was going to happen on Friday, the 29th, the day after Thanksgiving. And so I had to make the choice of going home to see my family or going to Ghana, where my producers were flying me there and putting me up to promote this film. And it's something I've had to deal with my entire career in modeling and acting and TV hosting. It's like whenever I do have that time and the money to go home and see family, a lot of times work or something business wise will be that thing at the forefront, and you have to make those choices. And I know that I'm not the only person that deals with that. So I know here at Creativity we're really big on relationships and family and community. So can you guys just kind of talk about that a little bit when it comes to burnout and breakthrough? Because in order for us to break through, we've got to show up for ourselves in workspaces, but a lot of times that means not getting to stay at our family's home when we go home, and actually spending more time with our significant other, or not even getting to go home for a holiday at all, having to go and promote something for yourself. So kind of just speak to that a little bit and give us a little insight on what we can do to feel better about that.
I'll start. I think it's going to go back to really the priority in that moment. And that's why I think like it's really important to have guardrails and boundaries, that some of them are more fixed than others. But there are priorities. And I think oftentimes, especially for people in the entertainment world, I've been in that place plenty of times when I've been reconciling, well, do I do this? Do I do this? Listen, the other thing I will say about creatives and being in creative spaces, our financial security and stability is a large part of how we are going to manage our creativity and our creative process, right? And so if you know that you're in a space right now where there is an opportunity that is going to support your financial well-being, your overall financial health or wealth, that is understandably, unless something else dire or critical is happening with a family member or others who are going to then support that. And I will tell you, like, as someone who has had multiple businesses and has done very well for herself, anytime that there is a challenge financially, that disrupts everything. And I would be remiss if I didn't say, like, when we talk about burnout and the fuel that drives us, oftentimes comes down to trying to earn in order to sustain the space of being able to be creative. It's not the reverse. It's not like your creativity is just going to build and create financial benefit. So I do think that in those cases, I think it's really important to ask yourself, what is going to advance you more? And I'm not talking about just external advance. I'm not just talking about financial advance or celebration. What is going to advance you more? And I think that when we think about that, that could be spending time with family over the work opportunity. But I definitely do understand that the truth for a lot of creatives is that it's driven by financial security and seeking financial security.
Yeah,
I'm glad we brought up the money piece, because you cannot talk about burnout without it, because so much of, chasing our dreams and just chasing the bag, right? Like, artists unfortunately don't have good relationships with money. We are just kind of like, oh, it's the art on itself, which is true. But when you are in scarcity mode, when you are in a desperate place, you make desperate decisions, right? You can't be as focused or as intentional as you would like to be. But I will say, on the other side of that, every time, and especially as an entrepreneur, I'm on my third company now, whenever things don't work out, it has been family and friends that have helped out. So I do think it's really important, just as important, to prioritize your friends and your family relationships, because when it all goes down, like, it's the people who are going to still be there to help you, the people who don't care about your accomplishments. Like, to this day, I think my dad just thinks I do something with computers. He has no idea what tech is or what startups is, but this is good because he loves me without any external conditions. Like, it doesn't matter how much money I have. It doesn't matter what magazines I've been in. So at this season of my life, I am prioritizing family and friends, because that feeds me more than, getting another magazine or whatever. But, seasons.
Yeah, my friends and I were speaking about this last night, about wanting to do a 2-week vacation next year instead of a 1-week vacation. And one of my close friends was like, I just always feel so bad when I take more time off, and I feel like I need to be getting back. And Ty, I know that you do a lot of wellness experiences where, you invite people to come out and travel. I want to talk about why it's important to take breaks and what you ladies think is the most effective way to avoid burnout, as far as like travel and taking time for yourself to get away from the work.
You want to take it?
Sure, thank you. So when I had my company, I was really big on letting them know that it's important to pause, right? Rest is part of the recipe, right? Because otherwise you will make bad decisions if it's just go, go, go. I see it all the time. So one thing that I have everybody do is quarterly plan a vacation, even if it's not somewhere fabulous, even if it's just a staycation or PTO at home, because then you have something to look forward to. Then you know that there will be a break, right? That you can look forward to and you can orient around it. It's just also just a better time management as far as like deadlines and peace management and energy management. So I'm really big, because you really have to pause. So many mistakes. I wish I had been like at least once a month checked in with myself and be like, do I still really need to do this? Do we still need this head count? Do we genuinely need to do this spend? Because you just couldn't keep going, right? And so one of the things that I'm really big on is editing. My acupuncture actually taught me this. She goes, sometimes to go from -1 to 1, you have to go through 0. Don't be afraid to pause. Don't be afraid to cut things out. Don't be afraid to stop doing things. You cannot take it with you where you're going, all of these things and all these people and all these responsibilities. You got to stay lean and mean to survive till 25. I just came up with that bars. You know what I'm saying?
Drop it.
Bars. I love
Drop
it.
it.
I love it. We're
Drop
almost
it.
there. I also heard that for a long time, that survive until 25. And
Yeah.
we've survived and thrived until 25.
And thrive. I hope so, because 25 got something for us too. It feel like so. Black women.
Let me just tell you, it better have something. It better have something for us. It better. I am claiming it.
You
sure,
owe something. You owe you some money.
Listen, we are owed it all.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We are owed it all. And I'll just add really quickly about the rest thing. You know, the sleep when you die, the hustle hard, the grind culture is so 1994. I can't even, and I'm dating myself because I think that when it started, we definitely had something to prove. I think we have to move away from proving anything to purpose. This is not about a proof point. It is about a purpose matter. And that's what, you know, I think wellness really starts with that. It starts with understanding your purpose. And then from a tactical and tangible standpoint, I think having check-ins with yourself and check-ins with, you know, what does my calendar look like? How did this feel? Was it too much? Did I accomplish what I set out to accomplish? Was I supported as I was trying to accomplish these things? And I think, you know, this idea of, you know, the same way that we take inventory of our closets during seasons, we need to take inventories of our life experiences. And I really do believe that vacations are not about traveling anywhere. Obviously, if you can, I celebrate that because I do believe that when you do travel, you're able to step outside yourself and experience something and be illuminated in a new way. But at the same time, I think taking time, travel is about time. It's about staying in time. It's about connecting with time and centering time for yourself.
I love that. I love that. I know I'm having so much fun with you ladies. I don't want to let you go, but I know that we're leaning down on the time. So I'm going to ask one more question and then I'm going to actually get you ladies to just give us your last little bit of like inspiration that you can leave us with. But I wanted to talk a little bit about meditation and hobbies, right? Because I think we get so caught up into, you know, getting to whatever that end result is, that we don't take the time. Like on this last vacation, my girlfriend brought us paint kits and we painted, and I was painting for hours and I'm like, where did you get this idea? And she was like, God. And I said, wow. She was like, you know, I was just doing so much and I needed to sit myself down, and it took this to make me sit down. So how do you think that having those type of practices, like meditation practices, hobby practices, play a role in preventing burnout?
Well, I will say that I have my number one practice is connecting. That's what gives me joy as a therapist. And to that note, I actually do have a client waiting for me. So unfortunately, I have to jump. But I really did enjoy this talk. It was great to pause. And I really feel fed by this conversation. And I'm so proud of you both. I'm really proud of Creativity for creating these kind of conversations and community. So shout out to us for taking time to love on us. Thank you for having me as part of this conversation, and I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
All right, so she jumped. We'll make sure to put out.
She got a client. She said, "Listen, she said I'm making everyone well, and I so appreciate that." And I think that's a wonderful example. But that is a wonderful example. It's like, look, you know, I'm prioritizing as I go. And, you know, she took the time that she needed to be here with us, and she has a commitment another place. And I think that that's another thing. We got to think about how we commit so frequently and so easily to other people and to other things. I think this idea of a pause is a commitment to us. It's a commitment to ourselves and also a commitment to God. And I am in my bag around like hearing from God, connecting with God, as I think I always have been. But I think for me, the pause really allows me to hear. It's an opportunity for me to nurture my relationship with myself. And like I like to say to everyone, and I appreciated what B said earlier about connecting with source. No matter what you believe, and as a believer, no matter what you believe, when you connect with yourself, if we're made in the image, we're connecting with God. And so when we take those times, and we take that time to pause, take that time to feed ourselves and to pour into ourselves with intentionality, I think we feel the presence of God. And that's probably why it was so incredible for you to paint, right? It was an expression of creativity that wasn't coming of and from you. It was just really kind of going out into the world. And I think pausing helps us to do that. It helps us to reframe, to reorganize, to re-energize, and to reinvigorate ourselves in a new light. So I'm all about the pause. I'm all about finding those pause moments.
I love that. And, you know, just being friends, and you're my sister, more than a friend, family. I love that you said that. I know I said that was my last question, but now that I just have you here for a second.
It's like, good. I got a minute.
There have been so many times where I was just going through the thick of it and you sent me a text message to ask how I'm doing. Literally, like, I can't even tell you how important that's been for me. And not only are you showing up for yourself, but you show up for your family, you show up for your friends. And I just want to say thank you for that while I have you here, because it's been so, you know, a lot of times, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of creatives that are here with us today and listening to this conversation, feel by themselves on a little island, chasing this dream, trying to get to the thing that they feel most purposeful about. I know what I'm doing is my purpose, but sometimes you just need that person to check in on you. And I know that that's what we're creating here at Chasity as well, community amongst each other. So I just want you to kind of just speak a little bit about that. Like, what is that for you? Where does that come from you? Like, I'm so grateful for Ty. Like, she doesn't even know how much this uplifted me or changed my day or helped me get to the next point. So thank you, first of all. I love you. But yeah, why is that so important? Community and connection. And I know, yes.
I want to hug you right now. But I'm happy that I hopefully will see you tomorrow. And if not, I also want to extend another invitation to you. I'll talk to you about that offline. But thank you. And it is really, Chaz, it really is my honor to love and support you. You know, we go back many, many years. And I think part of my personal gift is seeing people. And so I remember when I met you, and there are quite a few people that we would all know in this industry where there are similar connections. Everyone is different, but, you know, similar connections where I see people. And I think that that's one of my gifts from God, where he has afforded me the opportunity to really see. And I think in that, I'm just using part of my gift. I actually talked about this morning on Morning Mindset, that we're all given gifts. And sometimes we have to fight for our gift. Sometimes, you know, I was liking it too. I was watching, I've been watching Netflix, and I've never been a big TV watcher, which is crazy to work in the entertainment. I've never been a big TV watcher, but I've never been, but I was watching, I watched the other night, Jamie Foxx's special, What Had Happened Was, and was so inspired. And so I did a morning mindset on that. It was so inspired. Then it was so we could have a whole conversation about that.
I know. You guys haven't watched it, you have to watch it. It's incredible.
You have to watch it. There's so many layers of, you know, just how the story was being told, how he sold the story, how he came to illuminate, you know, his love of God and how he was reborn and rebirth and all those things. But anyway, so like about the gift part, I decided last night to watch Mary on Netflix as well. And so Mary is a film that's the story of Jesus's mother. And it tells her journey, because oftentimes we don't hear about her own personal journey, and it offers her journey. And in it, we learn that obviously when she was given this gift, like Gabriel, the angel, came to her the same way he had come to her parents about like her coming to be in life when they were trying to conceive her, that she would be given this great gift. And she was in utter disbelief, but this gift was also something no one else wanted, right? Because she was a virgin, right? And so she wasn't supposed to have this baby. So she had to fight for her gift. They were trying to kill her over this gift, right? Because I thought, so like, we're all given gifts. Are you willing to fight for your gift? Are you willing to fight for it? And then once you are willing to fight for it, what will you do to protect and nurture it? Because every gift requires nurturing. But in your protection and nurturing it, you have to find people, community around you who understand your gift. It's not going to be everybody, because everybody else, it's not going to be everybody.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
going to be everybody,
Absolutely
but
not.
you need a few. So she had Joseph, she had her mother, she had her father, and she had her cousin Elizabeth, who were willing to protect this gift and help her nurture it. It's not going to be everybody. And part of the thing with creatives and in how we operate is that we want everybody to celebrate. And we're living in a society where we're looking for celebration and applause at every turn, but that's not reality. And then if you nurture, protect your gift, you have a couple people that really see your gift, but you're committed to your gift and you nurture it, your gift will make room. Your gift will make room. Your gift will make room. And so I think oftentimes, like when we're in these spaces of creativity, and I'm also not telling you to go, struggle forever. I'm not saying that, because I also don't believe in the struggle mentality. God wants us to be abundant in all of our things. Now, it might take time, but oftentimes we give up too soon. We don't work for our gift. We don't protect our gift. We don't nurture our gift. We don't and invite other people around us to see the gift. It will make room. It will make room. So I think for me, seeing and hearing and knowing and having been that person, quite frankly, I've been really blessed professionally to have, and I've had people who saw my gifts. And so in doing that, I feel like it's part of my gift and my blessing to be able to help others to do the same.
Well, you are absolutely walking in your purpose, because I know that we are completely tied to each other. Your gift is tied to my gift. So I love you so much for who you are and how you show up in the world. And this was so perfect. I don't know a better way to wrap this thing up. Like, that was so perfect. That conversation with you ladies was a breakthrough. And I hope that the folks that are able to join us on this conversation and watch it, whether you're watching it back now on YouTube or watching live with us, we want to thank you guys so, so much for being here. We hope that you learned a lot and that you got some great tips that you can take away with you. Ty, I don't want to keep you all day, but I know that you have so many incredible projects you're working on that are coming up. Please take this time to let us know how we can connect with you and how we can support you on your next endeavor.
Thank you. So exciting. Morning Mindset with Ty is it. I'm also getting back into hosting, so I'm super excited about moving back into TV and hosting. But Morning Mindset will soon announce our 2025 lineup for LA events. We're also announcing an incredible partnership that will bring Morning Mindset to more people across the world as they come to LA and other places. Excited to share that. But follow me on IG at Taibeau, Taibeau, and also at Morning Mindset with Ty on Instagram. And you can go to morningmindsetwithty.com for more. And I'm just super grateful to be in this space. I pray that I was able to illuminate and support you on this journey. And I look forward to being in contact with all of you.
Thank you so, so much, Ty. Thank you guys out there. Thank you to our entire Creatricity team. We look forward to bringing you more conversations just like today's conversation. So make sure that you stay locked in with us. Again, I'm your host, Chasity Saunders, and we love you, we love you, we love you. And we pray that you have an amazing day. Until the very next time that we're here, we'll see you next time. Peace.